My daughter Charlotte had just turned 17 when I realized something terrifying. Beauty in this world is a gift, yes, but it can also be a curse in the wrong room, around the wrong people, with the wrong kind of insecurities. The day I got the wedding invitation from my sister, Danielle, everything seemed perfect. It was going to be a grand celebration. The venue was a restored vineyard with rolling hills, an open-air ceremony under a white-draped arch, hundreds of guests, family flying in from all over the country. Charlotte was excited. She'd picked out her dress months before, a soft, sky-blue gown that made her look like she'd stepped out of a fairy tale. Nothing flashy, nothing inappropriate, just elegant and graceful, just like her. I still remember how she twirled around in front of the mirror that night, asking if she looked okay, and I told her with a lump in my throat, "You look breathtaking, honey. Like a dream." What I didn't know then was that someone else had noticed too, and not in the way you'd expect. See, my sister had always had this thing where she needed to be the center of attention. It started when we were kids. Birthday parties? She cried if I got more gifts. School plays? She threw fits unless she had the lead. Even now, as an adult, if someone complimented my home-cooked dinner more than her catered dishes, she'd go silent and sour. But I always brushed it off. She's family, I told myself. That's just her personality. But family can cut deeper than strangers ever will. And 2 weeks before her big day, she made that cut. She called me one afternoon. Her voice was tight, a little fake cheery. "Hey, so I've been thinking about the wedding. It's going to be pretty crowded, and I was wondering if maybe Charlotte could skip it, just to keep things a less complicated." I froze. I asked her what she meant. She danced around it, saying Charlotte's dress might be a bit too grown-up, and that she didn't want anyone to feel upstaged. That's when it hit me. My own sister was banning my daughter from her wedding because she was afraid Charlotte looked too beautiful. I laughed at first. I genuinely thought it was a joke. But Danielle was dead serious. I was stunned. I tried to explain that Charlotte had been looking forward to this for months, that she'd done nothing wrong, that this wasn't fair, but she wouldn't budge. She just kept repeating, "This is my day. I want to be the one people look at." I hung up that call and just sat there in silence. I looked over at Charlotte on the couch, watching a baking show, her hair tucked behind one ear, humming quietly to herself. She had no idea what had just happened. I didn't know how to tell her. How do you tell a teenager that her own aunt doesn't want her around because she's too beautiful? How do you explain that grace, kindness, and natural light can threaten the darkest parts of someone else's soul? I waited a few days. I was hoping Danielle would change her mind. She didn't. So finally, I sat Charlotte down and told her the truth. And the moment the words left my mouth, I watched her face change, just slightly, but enough to break me. She blinked a few times and nodded slowly. "Okay," she said. That was it. No tears. No yelling. Just okay. But I could feel it. That silent crack in her heart. That quiet sting of rejection from someone she once looked up to. I told her we wouldn't be going. That if she wasn't welcome, then neither was I. She didn't argue. We spent the weekend of the wedding at home. No social media. No photos. Just us. I cooked her favorite meals, we watched old movies, and I tried so hard to pretend like it didn't matter. But I knew it did. Because there are some wounds that settle in quietly and stay with you forever. A few days later, I posted a picture of Charlotte in that blue dress. She looked radiant, even standing barefoot in our backyard, the wind catching her hair just right. I didn't say much in the caption. Just a simple line. The world isn't always kind to the ones who shine without trying. I closed my phone and walked away. I didn't expect anything, but the world saw her. Within hours, that photo exploded. Thousands of comments, shares, messages from people around the globe. Women who'd been shamed for their beauty. Teenagers who'd been bullied for outshining others. Mothers who'd seen their daughters dim themselves just to make others comfortable. The story caught fire. And then something unbelievable happened. A magazine reached out. They'd seen the post and wanted to feature Charlotte in a campaign celebrating natural confidence and inner strength. I showed her the message. Her eyes went wide. Me, she asked. Why me? And I just hugged her and said, because people are finally seeing what I've always known. Weeks passed. Charlotte's photo shoot went viral. Not because of glamour. Not because of flashy outfits or makeup. But because she looked like herself. Honest. Real. Brave. People connected with her story because it wasn't just about beauty, it was about being punished for existing fully. For not shrinking. For not hiding. And through it all, Danielle never reached out. Not once. She blocked us. Told the family I'd manipulated the situation for attention. Said I used my daughter to steal her moment. But I didn't respond. I didn't defend. I didn't explain. Because people who choose to misunderstand you will never hear the truth anyway. Charlotte is doing well now. She's using her platform to speak up for girls who've been told they're too much, too pretty, too bold, too confident, too everything. She's not angry. She's not bitter. She just wants to create a world where no one has to apologize for who they are. And I've learned something too, that family isn't always about blood. Sometimes, it's about who cheers for you when you shine. Who doesn't flinch when you rise. Who stands by you even when it's inconvenient. And if standing up for my daughter cost me a few relationships, so be it. I will never teach her to shrink. So to anyone watching this who's ever been made to feel like you had to hide your light, don't. If your presence threatens someone, let it. If your truth makes someone uncomfortable, speak it anyway. You don't owe the world your silence just to keep someone else's ego safe. Walk into the room like you belong there. Wear what makes you feel powerful. Laugh out loud. Take up space. And if someone tries to dim your shine, remember this. It's not your job to fit into their shadow. It's their job to deal with their own darkness. This isn't just a story about a wedding. It's a story about power. About choosing dignity over approval. About protecting your peace even when it breaks your heart. And if you've ever stood in that place, confused, hurt, trying to understand why someone who should love you makes you feel like an outsider, you're not alone. I see you. I believe you. And I promise you this. Your light is not the problem. It never was. Let them talk. Let them walk away. But never, ever let them make you feel small. You were never too much. You were always exactly enough. And if this story hit your heart, don't scroll past it. Share it. Not for numbers. Not for fame. But for every girl who's ever sat in her room wondering why someone turned cold when all she did was show up with love. Let this be her reminder. Keep showing up. Keep shining. Because the right people will never ask you to dim down. They'll stand beside you and say, shine brighter.